Hello and welcome back to the channel of nonsense. Now, if you were a BMW R9T, this would be your 11th birthday year. You'd finally get a login to the family PC and you get to discover all of that dodgy stuff your dad's got. But actually, if you were the bike, you would have got a slightly new frame, a new name, and some electronics updates. Are you sure your parents love you? Yeah, I can't quite believe it either. The R9T is 11 years old. It came out in 2013 as a 90th birthday present from BMW to BMW and its profit and loss accounts because, yeah, I think they've sold quite a lot of them. Now, that bike's 11 years old, has been replaced with this, the R12 NineT, and it is quite different. It's got a new frame. It's got a one-piece front and mid-frame with a bolted-on rear subframe. Previously, the front and mid-frame were bolted together. So they say they've saved some weight from the bolts. I think it's probably also cheaper to make, but whatever. The 1170cc boxer engine is still there, 109 horsepower, loads of torque, I can't remember how much, so I'll stick it up there. And the airbox is now under the seat, so it's not down here where it used to be. And the looks have just changed. I think it looks a bit cleaner, a bit simpler. It's got keyless ride as standard. You can get heated grips, you can get cruise control. You can now get a quick shifter and blipper, and you can also get a digital dashboard, which is nuts. So it's BMW accepting that it is a very modern, retro-looking bike. And I think that's what the R9T has always been, because it always handled well. Still got the S1000R forks and some really powerful Brembo brakes as well. But anyway, I'm going to take it for a ride. I might talk you around some of the bike in between now and then. I haven't decided because I'm filming this in a bit of a rush. Right, the light is going, so I'm going to give you a very quick walk around of the R12 NineT. This is now a £14,420 bike. So it's about 2.5 grand more than the R12. The big difference between that and this bike is obviously the seat, the wheel sizes. This has got 17s front and back. You've got mid-mounted foot controls as well. And to my eyes, this looks a bit more, I don't know, a bit more pure compared to the R12. It's not a cruiser, it's a roadster. There's the updated headlight with the daytime running light in the middle. It's covered in flies because we've just been riding it. But yeah, I love this green paint, it's rather beautiful. Also comes in black, and then there's the option 719 version, which has got red frame bits. The engine, as I said, 109 horsepower at 7,000 RPM, and then it's got 150 Newton meters of torque. So yeah, new airbox. It all looks a bit different down here. If you're an R9T nerd, you can't make this one A2 compliant though, like you can with the R12. Right, anyway, other cool things that are new down here is a USB-C connection. Down here, you lift this flap, and you've got a USB-C there. Around this side, you've got a DIN socket. Where is it? Where is it? I can't see it. It's there. But anyway, you've got a preload adjuster there. And you, as I said, you can get the digital dash with this. These are the standard clocks. You get a rev counter and a speedo as well. All super lovely. You can tell this one has got the comfort pack because you've got a heated grip button there. And that means you also get the quick shifter blipper as well. Now this is on here, but it doesn't do anything. It only does something if you connect your mobile phone into this cradle here and connect it to the bike via Bluetooth. You've got your mode button over here, so you've got your dynamic, you've got your rain, you've got your road. All that stuff is well and good. What really matters is how it rides. Let's hit some twisty roads near Basingstoke, quite sunny Basingstoke, and find out if it's any good on the road. Right, we're going to take the R12 NineT for a little ride on these twisty roads just outside of Cardiff. I'm going to do a comparison video on the channel between this and the R12, which is the more cruiser version of this bike. So if you're interested in this but with a lower seat, your feet slightly forward and a bit less horsepower so you can make it A2 legal, go and check that out. But this is the sportiest member of the R12 family. It's got more ground clearance. It's got 109 horsepower, so 14 horsepower more than the R12. It revs a bit higher, it's a bit faster, it's a bit more everything really. But the biggest difference for me coming between them, and I'm not going to do a comparison video again, is that this just feels more like a nice modern naked bike, but it's powered by one of the more characterful power plants of recent years, and that is BMW's 1170cc boxer twin for air and oil cooling. It's a legendary motor. It punches out corners with it's just a really nice surge of torque. It's hard to describe really, because in dynamic mode in second gear or even third gear and doing 50 miles an hour, if you suddenly go full throttle, it will absolutely romp. But not with the speed of a liquid cooled modern engine, but with serious instant shove. And it's that kind of instantaneous brah, brah, that makes this one of the more fun retro bikes to ride. Now, traditionally, the R NineT, which this has replaced, that was out for, God, 11 years or so without being really updated. One of the biggest downsides I had with that bike, and I loved that bike, is that it was always a bit firm in the rear end. The shock felt a bit basic, the damping was a bit cheap feeling, and it just felt a bit, I don't know, like you wanted to upgrade it immediately, which isn't a good look when you're spending, it could be 15, 16, 17 grand on a bike. And now I have to say, I still think this bike has that issue. It's still quite firm around town over bumps, and there are bigger bumps in the road mid-corner. It will push you offline a little bit. It'll be a bit like there, it's just uncomfortable. And I think the people that make replacement aftermarket shocks for R NineTs are still going to be in business with this bike. But other than that, it's dynamically way better than you would think. You might look at it and think, oh, stodgy boxer twin from the olden days. What next? Adolf Galland's Messerschmitt? No, this actually is an absolute blast to ride. Okay, we're probably doing 7/10 at the moment max, but I'm kind of having fun, and I'm not entirely sure I'd be going a huge amount faster if I was on an M1000R or something like that. So it gets up to 80, it gets up to 90, 100 miles an hour really easily. I also got loads of wind blast because it's a naked bike, so you probably can't hear me right now. But it's a joy in the corners. You're not riding around any compromises, foibles or anachronisms. You don't think, oh shit, this is actually a retro bike, I need to take it a bit steady. You can go bananas on this bike, and again, that's part of its appeal. All I would say is that if you're coming from an R NineT, there's not a huge amount to appeal really, other than the new techie foibles like that dashboard, the quick shifter blipper, which is very smooth and it is a nice to have. I would say it's a must have if you've got one of these. And I know there will be people in the comments, which is fair enough, saying why can you get a digital dashboard on such a retro bike? And let me say two things. First of all, that dash is probably flashing red. That's just my GoPro. This dash does it on all GoPros that I've seen. Secondly, what was I saying? Secondly, that digital dashboard looks really good and it is really useful up to a point, and that point is it doesn't have a fuel gauge or a range readout. So yeah, it does feel a bit miserly that BMW has given this bike things like USB-C ports, not even a USB-A, a modern USB-C port, a phone connection so you can have maps shown on the phone holder, but won't give you a fuel gauge. And that's a bit rubbish, man. But yeah, what do I know? I'm not in BMW product marketing. I would absolutely love to have one of these as a second bike, because certainly in Britain, where the weather's like shit, I can't always use 165 horsepower from my MT10. In fact, I'd go to prison if I did. This offers much the same riding position, but yeah, a bit more character and a bit less outright speed. It's a proper retro, wait for the cliche, bringer of joy. This bike is, just as a package, really well judged by and large. But yeah, that sounds like conclusion. We're not doing conclusions yet, we're doing corners. So yeah, that's a bit bump there. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't have like the most confidence in the front end on this, but I'm not really worrying about it too much. Just about the dust and the expansion joints in the middle of the road. Now there are some nerdy differences between the R12 NineT and the old R NineT, if you can hear me. Yeah, airbox is under the seat. I don't really notice any perceptible increase in induction noise or anything like that. It's quite a quiet bike on the standard exhaust. What a feel-good bike. Yeah, stick it in there, gas, accelerate, brake, stop. These are all fundamentals that a motorbike should be able to do, and the R12 NineT can do them all. What better review than that? One area where this differs from the R12 is that this has a 17-inch front, not a 19, and a 17-inch rear, not a 16. And again, I think as well, the big reasons why this does just feel like a modern bike when it comes to le handling. Also, if you turn off traction control, it'll pop little wheelies in second gear and first gear, even just off the throttle over a crest, because it's got so much torque. So there we go, in a nutshell, to ride R12 NineT. Feels like an R NineT. Quick shifter blipper, fantastic. Steering, nice and lithe. Suspension, bit firm under your ass. But riding position, lovely. I prefer it to the R12. Excellent, right, now let's do an outro. Right, there's a lot of noisy golfers going inside, so let's do the outro of the R12 NineT. What do I think about it? I really like it. Right, just done a couple of hours riding on the new R12 NineT. Sorry for all the background noise, there's a coach load of retired golfers, but that's fine. This bike though is more than fine. It is really impressive. It handles like a modern naked bike. It brakes like a modern naked bike, but it's just got so much more character from that big old lump. It still makes great noises. It loves to be lugged from low revs and just shunts you up the road on a wave of torque. So that's all really impressive. The downsides though, the suspension is still too firm. I'm 100 kilos. Some lighter people have been absolutely fine. I hate golf. I absolutely hate golf. Sorry, I was rudely interrupted there by some more golf enthusiasts. Downsides, yeah, really it's the suspension for me. The rear shock is still too firm for me at 100 kilos. Some lighter people said it's absolutely fine, but for me, it just felt too harsh on the damping. And yes, you can deck this out when you're really going for it, but by the point the pegs are scraping, you are going quite fast. Faster than you would on many other kind of retro styled bikes. The price is a bit salty as well, 14 grand for a starting price. This one's probably going to be about 16 grand for all the packs and everything. And the riding experience isn't that different from the R NineT. You can get one of those for 6 grand. So you have to decide if you want the new shiny thing with the quick shifter and the digital dash and all that good stuff, or if you want the original. But anyway, that's been a very quick first ride. Sorry it's been a bit rushed. Go down to the comments, leave me the German word for my pegs are scraping on your mother's floor, and I'll see you next time. Oh, like and subscribe as well. That's good. Right, anyway, I'm going to go and stick some wood where the sun doesn't shine. Golf clubs, nothing sinister.